How's it going, you guys? Welcome back to another Iron Faith Wrestling Instructional. Today we're going to be going over mat returns, so let's get right into the video. First thing we're going to go over is breaking the person from a quad pod position. A lot of times, if I have heavy forward pressure, the person's going to be standing up with a tripod or quad pod stand-up. So I'm on top, and I start pressuring forwards. Now he rotates up to a quad pod, go on all hands, all up to here. All right. From this position, I'm going to show you 3 different techniques we can use to make sure we keep our opponent down. The first technique I'm going to use is hooking the near ankle. So I'm on top in a spiral ride position. Arm chop is fine as well. And my right leg, the one in between, is going to hook the ankle, and I'm going to lift up on it as I pull him down to that knee. Okay? So circle this way a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just give a couple different angles. So I'm on top. I'm trying to keep him down. He starts, he's up into this quad pod position. My right leg is going to hook the ankle. It's called a Western hook. I'll just elevate it and bring his knee back to the mat here as I continue pressuring and looking for my breakdown. All right, let's turn this way. Okay, again, I'm on top. I'm pressuring. My leg that's behind hooks the ankle. I elevate it up and bring him to his knee, and then I'll look to break him flat. The next thing I'll look to do from this position, if that's still not working, is I like to be directly behind my opponent. So a lot of people hang off to the side a lot. I don't really like that because what I like to do is get behind them and have my leg underneath them. So what I mean by that is as he starts getting to this quad pod position, I stand up on 2 feet and put my leg directly behind him. So I'll hop up real quick. In order to stand up from the quad pod position, they need to get their hips underneath of them. So they need to get their hips underneath, and now they can stand up to this position. If they can't get their butt down and their hips underneath, they will not be able to stand up. So when my opponent's in the quad pod position, I'll start down. So as they even start coming up, instead of staying on the side, I actually climb up on top here and put my knee directly underneath of them here. And my toe is pointing directly towards his head as well. So he essentially is sitting on my leg like a chair. As I do that, my left knee stays in front, kind of blocking here, and I just walk him forwards here. And because he can't get his butt down because my leg is in the way, he will not be able to bring his hands off the mat. So this is, again, this is my personal favorite way to keep somebody down from that quad pod position. So I'm here, I'm pressuring forwards. I take my right leg, I step it right underneath with my toe facing directly forwards. My left leg comes in front and pinches in front of his quad to make sure his foot can't step forward. I can go in a spiral ride or a chop position, and I just keep driving him forwards to the mat with my right leg staying in between his legs. Okay, I'll show you guys one more time. I guess get one more rotation here. So I'm here. I'm trying to keep pressure. He comes up to quad pod. I start coming up to 2 feet, and I literally step my foot directly underneath of him here. All right, and I keep kind of walking him forwards as I chop and break him back to the mat. Now, the third option, I've personally never done before, but I wanted to add it in because I saw it done a couple times at the national championships. My partner's in a quad pod, and I'm hanging here. Now, this position will only make sense if the far foot, in this case his right foot, is close enough. So what I mean is, say he steps his right foot forward more. All right, now we're here. So I'm trying to keep him down with a chop or a spiral, and I see this foot is close enough to reach. I can actually do a cross ankle pick. So my left hand will reach across, grab the pick, and I can drive him across to his hip just like that. Show you that one again. So I'm here, I'm chopping, he's getting up to his quad pod. If he steps his right foot forward enough, I feel like I can reach it. I'm just reaching my left hand across to the ankle and driving him straight through to his hip, just like that. So those are my 3 options that I like to use from the quad pod position to just get him back down. Now let's go into mat returns. I'm going to focus on the 2 main mat returns I do, and then I'll show you guys some alternate ways to get your mat returns. The first one I do is the traditional mat return, where I get to the side of him, I lift him in the air, and I bring him towards his hands. The main thing with mat returns that I really think is important is preparing yourself to mat return as they're getting to their feet. So here's what I mean. Most of the time, people escape from a quad pod stand-up. So I'm pressuring really heavy forwards, and he starts coming up to here. Like I said earlier, I like to stand up to 2 feet and kind of get behind him here. Now I'm preparing myself for the mat return. So I definitely switch from arm chop to bringing my hands to the inside, so they're gonna be closer. If I stay in the arm chop position, he'll be able to seal off, and I can't lock my hands. So once I know he's gonna get to his feet, I go to spiral ride, and I start bringing myself to the side of him here. Because the normal lift, the traditional mat return, is gonna be from the side. Once I'm on the side with my knees pinched, I'm prepared to lock my hands. Right when his hands come off the mat, I lock right around his hip, pinch my elbows in tight. I'm squatting in low, lifting up high. Now, once I pick him up in the air, my goal is to rotate him towards his face. So my elbows are gonna do the rotation downwards. So my hands are gonna go like this. My hands are gonna go like this, or my elbows are gonna go like this, as my knee also hits his feet up. My goal is to get his whole body to rotate towards his head and hands so I can bring him to the mat. So we're here. I was already preparing on the side. Right when his hands came off the mat, I lock. I like a gable grip. I bring my lock to his hip. I'm squatting down low. All right, lock shouldn't be up at the chest, should be low around the hip. I lift. I'm rotating him towards his head, and even look at my left knee. It's blocking. It's whacking here and bring him back to the mat. Now, immediately when he lands, my hands have to unlock, and I like to go spiral and collect this wrist right here. Show you guys that one again. So I'm here, I'm keeping pressure. He starts coming up. I start getting behind. All right, and I get to this position right here. As he keeps coming up, I'm just preparing myself. Ready, right here. My legs are in the right position. Hands lock. I get low. I pop my hips up, rotate my hands, block with my leg, and bring them back to the mat as I collect this wrist, and I can break him flat. If you don't collect the wrist and try to break him flat, they'll pop back up. So you want to mat return them and get them all the way flat if possible. All right? Now, another way we can mat return him, it's gonna be very similar, it's just gonna be a little bit different of a finish. I can try to pull him to his hip. So if he lands on his hip, he can't spring back up as easily. So it's really just the ending's different. So he starts tripoding up. I'm giving him pressure here. I'm preparing with my knees on the inside. Right when he brings his hand to the mat, I lock. Now, once I lift here, watch the difference. I'm gonna lift. Everything's the same, but I'm gonna unlock my grip, grab his hip, and pull him down. I'm gonna grab this hip and pull him down to this hip. So I'm gonna lift, and I'm gonna let go and kind of pull him down to his hip. Left hand still collects the wrist, and I can drive forwards. Show you guys that little variation one more time. Again, I'm pressuring forwards. He starts coming up. My knee comes in front. I'm pinching here, ready to lift. I lock immediately when his hands come off the mat. Hips come in. I'm gonna unlock my hands, block, and pull him down to his hip, collect the wrist, and cover on top. Now, a lot of good wrestlers will block you from being on the side. Whenever I'm in that situation, this was my number 2 mat return, and these are really the only 2 I use. So number 1, I got to the side, lift, bring him to his face. Number 2 is this one. So my partner gets up to his feet, and I'm trying to prepare, but he's gonna block here. So I can't come to the side. Very common. So what I do is this, I'll turn this way. I step my legs backwards so he's no longer touching my legs. If he's touching my legs, it's hard for me to maneuver. So I step it back so he's no longer touching my legs, and I have a little more freedom to move. Now, I step both legs into the middle in a squat position, and I'm gonna lift him straight up onto my chest, and then I'm gonna pick a side, just like we did with the other mat return. Elbows are gonna turn, tap with my knee. So I'm here, I step back, I step in, step, lift. He's up on my stomach. Now I'm gonna rotate my hands and block and bring him back to the mat. Control the wrist, break him flat. Go back on your feet. Show you guys that a couple times. We're here. He's blocking. I'm having trouble picking sides. I step my feet back Then I step him in pretty close, make sure lock is around the hips, not up high. I want my lock around the hips. Step, step, lift him up, and then I'm just turning my elbows whichever side I want and blocking with my knee, covering on top. We'll do that one more time. So up on your feet. I'm here. My feet step back. I step it right in the middle. I like keeping my legs close because a very common way people are going to stop mat returns is hook my leg. So I go to lift, they'll hook your leg. So if you keep your feet in close, it's hard for them to find that hook, okay? So I'm here, feet are kind of back, step, step, lift, pick a side, rotate with your elbows and knee, and collect the wrist, break them flat. Next mat return is a knee block mat return. This is actually probably the first one you're gonna go to. You're not even gonna lift the person. You're just gonna block your knee in front and kind of sag them to the mat. So stand back on your feet actually. So say we're here. Especially when you're tired, it might be hard to lift them. You don't necessarily have to lift them. If I get to the side in the same position we did for our first mat return where I lift here, instead of lifting, just, your knees are on each side of his legs, just lift the near leg, the leg in front. The leg in front, just lift and pinch it on his leg, right above his knee. Now from here, you're just gonna lean as much weight as possible to the floor. Because your leg is pinching in front of his leg, it's hard for him to step forwards to catch his balance. So he's just gonna fall straight on his hands. So stand back up. This is more of a lazy way to mat return, but it works really well if you wanna conserve energy. So you pick a side, you're pinching, and you're just leaning towards this point right here. Right when he posts, I'm back on the mat, I can work my breakdown. It was very simple, but you're just blocking and leaning, and right when he falls, you can post your hand if you need to. One thing I want you to notice is, look, I'm not falling to my hip, I'm falling to my shin. So when I'm here and I'm falling to this shin, not to my hip. So I'm falling here, right to my knee, right to my shin, and I'm ready to break him flat. I'm not falling over to my hip here and putting myself in a vulnerable position. Now, next mat return. Partners up on their feet, face this way. This is call it a back trip, very common. A lot of times when you're in this position, you're dealing with a balance of pressure, okay? So sometimes they might be sitting their butt down low here and you can pull them backwards. Sometimes they're leaning their hands to the mat forwards really hard and it's hard to pull them backwards. So this move is gonna be done when you feel them leaning into you backwards. When you feel that weight leaning into you backwards, we can pull him backwards. So I'm here, I feel the weight leaning into me. Look what my legs are gonna do. So I'm going to step my right leg to the left and I'm gonna drop to my left knee. So this is the position I'm getting in. And I'm pulling him over top of the leg that's straight. So one knee's down, one leg is up, and I'm pulling him over top of that leg. Tripping him right over top of that leg. So back on your feet. My feet are facing him, and I'm going like this and dropping to my left knee. If my lock's over on this side of my hip, the back knee is dropping because I need the leg that's up to be the one that's tripping him. So I'm here, I switch legs, drop to my knee, leg is out so it can trip this foot, and I pull him over top onto the mat just like that. Back on your feet, show you a couple different, I'm doing it kind of slow, it's more of a jump into it, so when I'm here, it's more, and your body weight, you falling down is actually pulling him. It's not necessarily you using your arms, even though you will, it's your body weight is as you're dropping, you're pulling him over top of you, okay? We'll do one more time from a different angle here. So I'm here, my legs, I might cheap step by keeping my leg in front a little bit, so I only have to step just like this. Instead of having my feet square where I have to jump, I'll have my right foot already here, and then I'll just step my left leg back to here, pull over top. Now, next mat return is gonna be a inside trip. So my opponent's up on his feet, I'm here. A lot of times they might start facing you. If you feel them start facing you here, we can work our inside trip. Now, in this case, I would not do it because I want this leg forward. So, no, I'll go to the other side, that's perfectly fine. So face me a little bit. Face me. Yeah, this way. Now, see if the opposite leg is forward, so I'm here, I was trying to keep him down, and I get in this position where this opposite leg is forward, I can work an inside trip. So my right leg is gonna step through here and wrap around. And I'm gonna bring him right to the mat there. It's a pretty specific situation, but something you guys can mess around with. You know, you're here, maybe you're trying to mat return him, but he faces you a little bit. Then you're just stepping your right leg in and you're wrapping the back of your knee around his ankle as you drive over top of, stand up real quick. The direction you're gonna drive will be, you wanna sit him right to his butt here. So when this foot wraps here, I'm pushing back this way and getting that takedown. Show you guys that one more time. So maybe you're trying to pick a side like we did on our earlier mat returns. Trying to lift him here, but he faces you a little bit. Just step that right leg in, wrap it around, and drive over top, just like that. Next mat return we're gonna do is going to be a broomstick mat return. This is great for leg riders, so you're up on your feet. If I'm a leg rider, say I had a leg and he got to his feet and I'm right in this position. All I'm gonna do is take my leg that's in and stick it across and put it behind his knee. All right, so I'm here, I have a leg in, I'm gonna take my leg that's in, straighten it out like this and hook behind his knee. Then my right leg is gonna step backwards and I'm gonna just fall to my right knee. So I'm here, my leg is in, I stick it across, I step back and I fall to my knee and cover on top. I can also pull him into this crab ride position if I want to, but I think in an ideal situation, you'd like to be on top like this. Show you guys that one again. Here, I have my leg in, foot comes across, I'm stepping backwards to get some space for him to fall into, and I'm dropping to that knee, pulling him down, covering on top. One more time. So I'll show the back side a little bit. We're here. I'm trying to break him flat maybe, hook, my foot steps backwards and I drop to that knee as I pull him down to his hip and cover on top. The next two options I have are reducing to a single or a double. So my partner, I'm here. You know, even if they're in that quad pod, so going to quad pod, you can reduce now if you want to. So in this case, I might reduce to a single. My hands are gonna drop to a single leg. Head position matters a lot. I don't wanna dive my head down. When I reduce to a single, I'm dropping and my head is staying up into his armpit as I drive up to here. All right, lift and trip. So even if he's on his feet, not quad pod anymore, when I go to reduce to a single, I don't wanna dive my head down like this. Make sure I come to the side a little bit, and when I drop, my posture is good posture. I'm here, head up, driving in, and finishing a great single. So if you go to reduce to good position, okay? Don't just, some people do this type of stuff where they just, dive down to the ankle to hold on. You wanna finish this shot, and especially you wanna keep it on your feet. If you dive down to here, they start a count and they can give you a stalling call. If you keep it in the air, this position, you're much less likely to get a stall call, okay? Now you can also reduce to a double. When I reduce to a double though, my head positioning is gonna be different. So when we do this lift, one of our earlier lifts where we pick a side, we squat, my face is looking across the back this way. This will be a good position to reduce to a double. So if I'm here and maybe I'm having trouble lifting, maybe as I try to lift, he hooks my leg and I'm like, it's getting difficult. I can just circle a little bit more in front, drop my shoulder into his hip here, and then run down a double. Show you guys that one again. So I'm here, maybe I'm trying to lift, it's not working. My shoulder drops into his hip, and I squat down into a great double leg position. Boom. Then I pick the legs up, run it down, just like that. If you guys like crab rides, this is a great option for you. So if I'm behind him again, maybe I feel him leaning back a little bit. What I can do is I can pull him back into a crab ride. The thing that's very important though is you're not allowed to jump off of both feet and kick him in the back of the knees. I have to keep my feet on the mat. So if you're gonna notice, when I pull him back into crab ride, both my feet are gonna go like this. My heel is gonna stay in contact with the floor as my foot hooks behind his heel. So it will do it with both feet at the same time, but I'm gonna stay on the mat, pull him into my lap, and now I'm in a position where I can score from this crab ride position, okay? So I'll show you guys that one again. It's kind of quick, but again, don't jump up and kick him in the knee or anything like that. Keep your feet on the floor. Maybe I'm trying to lift, it's not working, so I just throw both feet behind and pull down into this crab ride position. When I'm pulling him down, I want him to stay in my lap. I don't want to pull him, stand back up to your feet, like on top of me like this, because that could cause a scramble position where I might give up a reversal. So I'll show you guys that one more time. I'm here. All right, maybe I'm trying to pick a side, it's not working. Both feet go behind here, and I pull them down into my crab ride position. Next mat return we can do is a claw lift, okay? This is a great opportunity to get some back points. So say I'm here, maybe trying to return. I'm just gonna take my left hand in this case, and I'm gonna reach it deep under, so my shoulder's in his armpit, and I'm gonna wrap around his neck. Once I'm here, my right arm is gonna come in deep and hug his leg. I'm gonna step my feet in, pop my hips in the air, and I'm gonna lift up on the leg and down on the shoulder as I bring him to the mat, just like that. Show you guys that one again. So if I'm on the other side, my right arm is going deep, shoulders pretty much where his armpit is, wrap, reach in up kind of above his knee, hug his leg, step in, hips come up. I can even step my hip in front to give me a little bit of a hip toss and finish the claw lift. One more time with that one. Facing this way, claw, shoulder deep enough, reach in, lift. Again, I can step that right foot in front to get a little bit of a hip toss and bring it right over top, just like that. Next one is a standing tilt. That's the reason why I make a comment to my wrestlers. I tell them, you know, if you get your arm trapped on your feet, I would rather have you be on your base. Because this position, giving the person a 2-on-1 where you're on your feet, it's a really bad position and you can give up a lot of back points, or you're gonna get slammed on your shoulder. So if for some reason I collect this person's wrist, we can hit a tilt from this position. I'm gonna pull the wrist tight across the waist. All my fingers and thumb is gonna wrap around the elbow joint, and I'm gonna suck it in tight just like this. Now I can go forwards, but a lot of times this works well pulling them backwards. Just make sure, again, you don't jump and kick them in the back of the knee or anything like that. All I'm gonna do is I'm going to so I'm in this position here. I'm gonna take my left leg, the leg that's further away, and step it across and hook it behind his far ankle. So I'm here, I'm gonna step this leg and hook it behind, and I'm just gonna squat down to my butt. So I'm here, squat down, and then finish in the tilt position. Tilt position, bottom knee is facing the ceiling, elbow and knee are connected here, and I'm just sucking it in tight just like that. One thing you will notice is as he falls to the mat, I'm making that adjustment with my elbow. So right now my elbow's not on the inside here. I'm just kind of wrestling here. You know, maybe I'm trying to lift him, drive him to the mat here, but he starts squatting backwards. You guys see that pressure? I'm trying to drive him forward, he's squatting backwards. My foot just comes behind that heel, just like this. As I pull him to my hip, then this elbow is coming in here. And I'm finishing in that tilt position just like that. Show you guys that one more time. So I'm here. Maybe I try to drive him forward a little bit. I feel him squatting back. Foot goes behind. I suck in to the tilt position. Elbow and knee touch. This knee's pointed towards the ceiling. Last one we're gonna do is a front trip. So nice, kind of like physically easy one to do. So I'm here. You know, maybe I'm in more of the arm chop position. This is great, I feel like, if you didn't lock your hands. So say they sealed you off here and you only have a tight waist left. I really like this option for a mat return, okay? All I'm gonna do is take my left leg, wrap it around his ankle, and I'm gonna fall forwards. I'm gonna use my right hand as well to pull him to the mat. So I'm gonna wrap, fall and pull him down to the mat just like that. Back on our feet. And I think this situation is really important if, you know, I can't lock here, I'm stuck. Okay, hook, pull him to the mat, and just stay on top. One more time. Go from this angle, I guess. I'm here, I'm trying to lock, it's not working. This foot, and I get low too, I'm not at the knee, I'm at the ankle. Wrap, pull him to the mat, get back on top. All right, you guys, that's all I got for the mat return video. Comment below what you guys want to see next, and hope to see you in the next video.